We got Cavs versus Brooklyn. We also are going to have the Clippers versus the Timberwolves, Hornets versus Hawks, Spurs versus Pelicans. In that Cavs versus Brooklyn game, right, you got to understand everything here is a one-game scenario, right? This is not a series. This is not taking this game and making adjustments, right? This is a one-game scenario. Cavs versus Brooklyn. You got to give me Brooklyn, right? As I mentioned earlier, they getting hot at the right time. They got veteran guys who have been here before. They know what it takes. They know what it looks like. They know what the atmosphere may be. And then you also got a Cleveland team on the flip side who's very unexperienced, right? They have K Love, but that's kind of like their vet, right? They're going to rely on a lot of young guys, which they're going to play hard and with effort, but is that going to result in a win at the end of the day? I also think, simple and plain, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are going to be too much when it matters. And I think this whole team, from Patty Mills to Andre Drummond to Seth Curry to Gordon Dragic to Steve Nash himself, right? They're all vets. I think they all know what it takes, especially to win this game and take care of business that's in front of them so they can just secure that 7th seed and not have to kind of worry about a must-win game for that 8th seed. Now, if we stay in the East and we go down to the 9-10 matchup, Hornets versus Hawks, again, one game scenario, this was going to have to happen. You're going to have to give me the best players for one game, right? Anytime it's one game, I'm going to go with whoever the best player is because they're usually going to show up in that scenario. So with that being said, give me Atlanta. Trey loves these environments, right? He's one of the most underrated players in the NBA. Obviously, we just seen with the new stat that came out, he led the league in total points and assists. He also did that in college. He's the first player to ever do both. He's one of the most underrated players in the league, as I mentioned. I would take him over Luka. That's not the debate here. But what wins playoff games and what wins great games just in general are superstars, right? The Hawks are going to have the best player on the floor, and I think he's going to prevail them to a win with Trae Young. Now, the Trae versus LaMelo point guard battle is obviously going to be great. I think LaMelo don't shy away from the moment either, so LaMelo will have him a great game. He's going to play just as if it's another regular season game. I just think the experience, the help that Trae may get from Bogdan, from Collins, from Clint, just from guys who may help him out, that'll give them the nudge over the Hornets. So give me Atlanta. Then we go to the West, 8-7, Clippers versus Minnesota. This is one of the more interesting matchups for me, bro. For me, this is one of the more interesting ones because they're so even. And it would have even been the same thing without Paul George, but now Paul George is back, and that complicates things. But again, best player, Paul George. I trust PG in these situations, and I always trust Ty Lue game plan. I just mentioned his coaching. The way he can scheme for one particular game is probably going to be a sight to see. So I got them coming out and being able to shut down the Timberwolves because the Timberwolves got red flags to me, man. What are we going to get from Patrick Beverley? What are we going to get from Ant? Right? Like, what are we going to get from those two guys that is going to for sure let all the Timberwolves fans know that they have a shot at winning this? I don't really know. I think you know what you're going to get from D'Lo and Cat. Those are your solidified stars. But you got other question marks, and that's why I have to go with the Clippers. Because say what you want, but Reggie Jackson lives for big moments. He hit plenty of big shots. Like I said, Norman Powell's getting back in the mix. Luke Kennard, PG himself, right? I think the Clippers will take that one. And then 9-10 in the West, Spurs versus Pelicans. Give me the Pelicans. For none other than, I don't know if the Spurs have an identity, right? Can DeJounte Murray carry this team to even secure a playoff spot? Because as I mentioned earlier, the one thing that happens in the playoffs, it becomes about talent and skill. It is no longer about, just beating a team on any given night. Now, it's one game, so it kind of is about that, but talent has to prevail at a certain point to make it into the postseason and then to make a postseason run. I don't think the Spurs have that much talent. They definitely don't have as much talent as the Pelicans. So give me CJ, give me B.I., give me Jackson Hayes, give me Devontae Graham, right? Give me hoopers, guys who can walk in the building and make sure their game travels. And I'm going to take the Pelicans there. So for me, The 7th seed in the East are going to be the Brooklyn Nets. The 8th seed will be the Atlanta Hawks. And then in the West, the 7th seed will be the Los Angeles Clippers. And I think the 8th seed, we'll talk about that next pod. Okay. But look, man, that's it. Those are my hottest teams heading into the playoffs. And this is what we need to be looking in during the play-in. As always, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. I'll see y'all next week. Peace.